So who makes the best cordless transfer pump? Let's get into it. All right, so to run this test, got a 55-gallon drum here, 50 feet of hose going up a 40-foot extension ladder, giving us roughly 35 feet of height. So we're going to capture dB, and we're going to capture GPM here with this flow meter. First up, we have the old school drill pump here being run by a DCE050B with a 5 amp hour power stack. Now this first test is transferring water on level ground. So just under 8 gallons per minute. Old style Ryobi here, no load, 4 amp hour. Five GPM. Power, no load, running the 8. Just above 5 GPM. Clutch, no load, 4 amp hour. .5. Snap-on, no load. .6 GPM. No load Ryobi, 4 amp hour edge. .5, 5.5, 8. Milwaukee 8 amp hour forge, no load. Dewalt no load 8 amp hour power pack. .75. So pumping on level ground, Dewalt there on top at 8.75 GPM, followed by the M18 at 8.5, and then we have the Ryobi 1 Plus brushless there at 8. Rounding out the bottom, we have that Snap-on, the Bauer, and the older generation Ryobi, which has been discontinued. Now pushing that water up 35 feet. Standard 2 amp hour. So we may have killed the Ryobi here, it's just flashing overload. We're gonna go ahead and move to the Bauer. 8 amp hour. .4 amp hour. Edge. 6 forge. 4 amp hour power pack. The Milescraft here actually is on top with a GPM of 6, followed by the Dewalt at 5.5, and then the Ryobi 1 Plus there at 5.25. Rounding out the bottom, we have the Snap-on, the discontinued Ryobi, and the Bauer here having a very poor performance at 1.5. Now when we look at these with multiple batteries, here at the Bauer we also have the AC adapter, which is downright horrible at 1 GPM, 1.25 with that 1.5, and then the rest of the batteries did 1.5. Clutch, yeah, really no difference here, going from the 2 to the 4, about 0.25. Ryobi brushless there, really not much of a difference either here, but you can see the better packs do help out there, about 0.25. Milwaukee, same deal. Dewalt on the other hand, no matter if you're running the 5 amp hour XR or the 8 amp hour power pack, it still performed at 5.5 GPM. Now I did capture max dB with the clutch, Bauer, and M18 having the lowest. Now that being said, I know exactly what you're going to ask me. So the disclaimer is, of course, you're not supposed to, you're only supposed to be pumping mainly water with most of these. That being said, this older Ryobi I have pumped diesel fuel coolant. So for this test, so sadly I don't have any 140 weight gear oil laying around. I just used the last bit of it up. But I do have this older pail, a 1540, that as you can see has rode around the back of the service truck for quite some time. So pretty straightforward for this test. I'm going to allow it to prime up to the black mark, and then from the black mark to the red mark is a gallon, so we can kind of gauge the GPM. So the older Ryobi here basically stops at coolant. I can't actually pump oil here, as you can see. Now again, you're not supposed to use any of these to transfer oil. Definitely not gasoline. But from this testing, the Milescraft here came out on top, followed there by the Ryobi. But keep in mind, this was shutting off at exactly roughly 1 gallon for me. And then the Dewalt. Rounding out the bottom, we have that snap-on, clutch, and the Bauer. So yeah, I know a lot of these pumps are being used to transfer oil, diesel fuel, stuff like that. But again, it is not recommended by the manufacturer. So if you do it, yeah, you're on your own. All right, so I'm putting the Bauer here in last. You've seen the performance there, pretty poor. Kind of surprised seeing it looks quite similar to the Ryobi there. Has a sight window up front and comes with a replaceable impeller, plastic fittings, status LED, on-off switch, little bottle of oil. Every time you use it, they want you to put a couple drops there in the inlet. And the legs do have attachment points where you could screw the base down. Of course, the 20-volt battery or the AC power adapter, which it does come with, but we've seen the performance was at the bottom end when using the power adapter. So yeah, if you can get it on sale and you're running the Bauer line, something to consider if you're pumping just water and you're also not pumping it real high. Ryobi, pretty much identical. Now, they did discontinue this. I've had this for about 7 years now. It does have a replaceable impeller under here. Snap-on, like normal, extremely expensive for something that's made in China, but it's quite impressive here considering the form factor. So aluminum housing that detaches from the tool, and you can reverse it there depending on if you're in a situation where you need to flow the fluid in a different direction. Of course, like the rest, again, you're not supposed to use it with anything other than water or coolant. So yeah, interesting design. I really would have liked to seen some different adaptation here where you could have used this tool other than just for a pump. But overall, if you're on the 14.4 line, this may be something to consider if you're looking for a small compact pump. M18, of course, has that window up front, so you can see that impeller, and also you can take this cover off and replace that impeller if needed. Brass connection points. Your on-off switch there. Battery cover, which supports everything up to the 8 amp hour Ryobi One Plus. Now, this is the only one here that's actually brushless. Same deal, you can take this cover off, get to the impeller there. Now, although these connection points look like they're plastic, that is actually aluminum. This is also the only one which has 3 speeds and also a timer. So like I mentioned during testing, we had 2 GPM, 5 GPM, and 8 GPM. Definitely a good value, but it did struggle there when pumping oil, where it would only do 1 gallon at a time and shut itself off. Clutch, overall, not bad considering the price. You cannot easily get to the impeller. You'd have to take this whole housing apart. It looks like the next generation of this, they made this accessible. You do have an LED light here up front with 2 positions there and brass connectors. So again, we have the 2 positions for the light and the on-off switch in this small battery compartment. And that's another thing to keep in mind. If you buy the version that uses Dewalt batteries, you're going to be limited as to what Dewalt batteries fit in here. Because in this case, this one is for clutch batteries, of course. And the biggest one you can put in here is that 4 amp hour. Dewalt, seemingly like normal, the last one's to the market here. Again, 4 screws. You can easily access that impeller if you need to replace it. Brass fittings. On-off switch. But what's honestly impressive is the drill pump here. Now here actually only running 2100 RPM, where the specs say you can run this up to 2800. So depending on what drill you're running, you could actually get higher output of this than what we've seen from my testing. But at roughly $15, this honestly surprisingly seems like a good value. And then we have my subjective overall ranking with the drill pump here coming out on top, followed by that Ryobi One Plus, then the new Dewalt, the clutch, the M18, the snap-on, the older Ryobi, and the Bauer rounding out the bottom. So you have it. I'm actually going to put the drill pump here in first place. Pretty impressive performance considering the price. Followed by that Ryobi. Again, brushless motor, 3 speeds, and also 3 timer settings there. Along with that, it is roughly $100 cheaper than the Dewalt and Milwaukee. And in third place, just above the Milwaukee in performance, I'm going to put the new Dewalt here. Specs will be at the end like normal. Links will be down below. Let us know if you have any of these and how they've worked for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Like normal, the brand, model, and the MSRP, if it has a kit, weight without battery, where it's made, warranty, if it has the AC adapter, claimed GPM, claimed lift, and then claimed push, along with if it has brass or aluminum connectors there, and the number of speeds. I also listed out the accessories which each one of these come with.